in meditation, walking meditation per se, and how I use it as a means of staying healthy, keeping fit, not only physically but in mind and body. Now the whole scheme of things actually took about 2 years. So what I'm trying to do here is to share with you the steps and the way I do it in the last 2 years. It's pretty long session, so it's like I've got like 40 over slides, so I think it may spread over like 2 sessions or 3 sessions. But if I can't finish today, next week we'll carry on part 2, and probably sometime mid-June we'll carry on with part 3. What you want to know is that basically today we live in a world that is very developed. We have technology that's all around us. We have less trees, less nature. We walk less, we sit a lot more. And we work a lot harder, but with our brains, and we work less hard physically. And as a result, a lot of us are less than fit. What kept me going and thinking about it is, one day when I was sitting all around by myself and contemplating about the human being, I just realized that we've got 2 legs. And I also realized that the Buddha walked a lot in his earlier days. And I realized that if he can walk every day for that many years and live quite healthily for his over 80 years, then I think there's something that he has done right that we can emulate. So I'll take you across what I've gone through, and hopefully all of you can gain something out of here. Now, if you have gained nothing out of this talk, I would like you to at least gain one thing: to overcome fear. Because I think many of us have difficulties managing fear. I think once you overcome fear, you overcome a lot of obstacles. And of course, the other thing I would like you to be able to take away with you is to be able to learn how to see the right view of things. How to look at things as they actually are. Because the human perception is always wrong. Alright? Then when you have the opportunity, I suggest all of you try to get hold of this book, Ajahn Brahm's book, Happiness Through Meditation. This is my latest inspiration. Okay, in my last 2 years when I was doing all my walking meditation, I had a lot of very nice experience. Alright, and a lot of those nice experiences are reflected in this book. And this book is something that you can take along with you and then grow with it. Now, I've always said that you can listen to all the suttas, chant all the suttas, know everything about the Buddha's teaching, but if you don't develop a system where you put all these teachings to your daily living, it is quite unlikely that you will get the best out of what Ajahn Brahm or the Buddha has taught you. Alright? Without much further ado, I'll just move on. Okay, one of the things that I always tell people is, whenever we get up in the morning, we always want to have the gratitude. Alright? We need to give thanks that we wake up in the morning. Okay? This I took from Thich Nhat Hanh, and he's got a website called plumvillage.com. Alright, the internet has a lot of information on Buddhism. So, the only problem is that all of you can get overwhelmed by the amount of information that you have inside the internet or everywhere. But what I suggest that you do is that if all confusion arises, alright, just stay with the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. These are the foundations of Buddhist teachings. Alright, and if you're all confused, get down to basics. The basics, Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Alright? So waking up this morning, I smile, knowing there are 24 brand new hours before me. I vow to live fully in each moment and look at beings with eyes of compassion. Now, if you start the day with such thoughts and such mindfulness, I'm sure your days will be quite happy. Right? Another thing that I always do is whenever I eat something, whenever I have food, I always look at this food is a gift of the universe, the earth, the sky, and much mindful work. Remember, all the food usually have to be farmed, alright? And there's a lot of hard work that goes inside there. May we eat in mindfulness so as to be worthy of it. May we transform our unskillful states of mind and learn to eat in moderation. May we take only foods that nourish us and prevent illness. May we accept this food to realize the path of understanding, love, and compassion. So these are all very beautiful words for us to reflect on and be mindful on. You can go to plumvillage.com and take a look at the website. It's got a lot of information out there, and they are very helpful. Now, for how many of you are afraid of the computer or internet? All right. For those of you who are averse to it, I suggest overcome it and use it. It's like a tool. The more you use, the better you become. For those who have younger children who can help you out, learn from them. It gives you an opportunity to interact with them, get to know them, understand why this internet and computer is so important to all of them. It creates a bond for you to understand each other better. Okay. Why this subject? We wake up each day with a beautiful breath. That's the very important thing that I always look at. The very fact that we wake up, we are breathing. Otherwise we won't be. Then the next thing is we move through life. We flow through life like water flowing in a stream, searching for happiness. Right? We search for our own happiness outside of the self. Okay. Now, why outside of the self? First thing we do when we get out in the morning, we brush our teeth, we take our breakfast, we look at the newspaper. We try to read the newspaper. All right, what do we always see in the newspaper? Latest news, latest gossip, latest entertainment, who is who, what is what, So, and a lot of that give us entertainment value, and sometimes we are quite hooked on it. Then, do we know that deep within us is a seed of Buddha nature? Now, the seed of Buddha nature is in all of us. Alright, that's the very reason why any one of us can get enlightened. Right? And do we know that the highest happiness is inside that seed? And looking deeply inside ourselves, are we able to find it? And how do we find it and nurture it to fruition? Hopefully, I can go along and all of you can just see how it's done. Okay. Purpose of this session is to share with you my Dharma practice, how I develop a systematic method of daily practice. Of course, next question is, does it work? Alright? And what is the motivation that keeps the daily practice going for more than 2 years? I do this almost every morning, walking meditation, weather permits. Hopefully these practices and exercise will help you in your search for the highest happiness. Highest happiness is Ajahn Brahm's words of nirvana, and I kind of like it. That's why this book influences me a lot, because I found a lot of meaning in there. Now, Ajahn Brahm is a very creative person. He is quite an entertainer in the way he delivers his a message, and he creatively put forward the Four Noble Truths in a positive manner by reversing the order, if you were to look at it. And I thought it invokes better acceptance in today's environment. Okay, so since almost everyone is in search of happiness, he uses the last noble truth and he put it up front, which is happiness, which is actually the fourth noble truth, cessation of suffering. Okay. Then the path leading to happiness, which is actually the way to cessation of suffering. That's the third noble truth. And second noble truth, unhappiness, which is suffering. And the first noble truth is the causes of unhappiness, which equates to causes of suffering. So this is one positive way of communicating Buddhism to your friends or people who really want to know Buddhism. A lot of people find Buddhism very mystifying. And I always tell them, Buddhism is one of the simplest practices or religion that you can find. Alright? You start off with the Four Noble Truths and the practices of the Eightfold Path that will take you to the cessation of suffering. Okay. Now, the first eight of the Eightfold Path talks about right thought, which can be said to be looking things in a right manner, also seeing things with the right view, and seeing things with the right vision. Alright? Now, I've taken the text from this book again, which is page 234. Try to understand this very carefully, because this forms the fundamental of why all of us get into trouble with people, and that's how people get into trouble with us, how we come up with arguments, and how relationships fall apart. Alright? Now, the cognitive process is regarded as threefold, consisting of view, perception, and thought. Okay, it comes from view, perception, and thought. The Buddha observed how views fashion perceptions, perceptions fashion thoughts, and thoughts fashions views. Okay? Thus, incorrect view will distort perception to suit itself, resulting in mistaken perceptions. Perceptions are the building blocks of thoughts. So, from mistaken perceptions, one constructs erroneous thoughts. These thoughts are then employed to justify one's views. Then these erroneous thoughts reinforce our original wrong view. So continues the seemingly unending, self-sustaining, vicious circle of wrong view, leading to mistaken perception, leading to erroneous thought, leading to wrong view, leading to mistaken perception. The unfortunate aspect of this distortion of the cognitive process is that most people can't see it happening. They presume that raw perception, the primary evidence supplied by the senses, is always accurate. It explains beautifully why everyone thinks they are right. Alright, now, this is a very, very important part of the view, because from this part, you always see where argument starts. Alright? And there's no end to arguments because people think, I am right, then you think you are right, and everybody will be justifying that all of us are right. At the end of the day, all of us are wrong. Okay? Now, I drew up this chart actually is all about the Buddha's teachings, alright? But on the left, I kind of summarize it up in a simpler way, which is suffering and its causes. The primary reason that we suffer is one, we have body, alright, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Primarily important thing is ignorance is also there. Alright, now, just now we talk about perception, right? So what's about perception? You find that perception is here. Alright? Now, the eyes do not see things as clearly as they are. The Buddha says that we can see things in 6 different ways. If you are in front of me, you look at me, I look this way. On my left, I will look differently. On my right, I will look differently. From my back, top and bottom, I will look different. Alright? That's what it is all about. So depending on where you are standing, where you are at, how far you are at, whatever you see, whatever you hear, is going to be distorted. Now, if I were to look at any one of you, alright, those in front, I will get a clearer view. Those from the side, I will get a blinkered view. Alright, what Venerable Sangharashita says is this, is that the main reason we don't see things properly or we don't see things well is because we have weak vision. Alright, weak vision means behind the way we see things, we lack the energy of meditation. We lack energy. So for people who do regular meditation, they see things very, very clearly. Why? Alright? Because they are very calm. Alright? Their feelings do not arise. Their inherited perceptions do not interfere with their vision. So that's why they see things very clearly and they see things very well. So for example, if you ask Ajahn Brahm was once asked a question by an expectant mother. Now the expectant mother was saying that from the scan, her fetus looks like it's abnormal. So she was asking Ajahn Brahm, what should I do? Should I abort the fetus or should I retain? Ajahn Brahm's answer was, whatever you do with compassion. Alright? With the thoughtfulness that all is well for the fetus. Alright? So even if you abort with compassion. But even if you decide to keep the baby, you keep it with compassion. So there's a kind of thought and there's a kind of view from a wise person. Now, as a normal person, we won't be able to advise in such a situation. So that's what meditation and good practices of the Buddha's teachings will actually give you that wisdom to approach such subjects. Alright? So, as I mentioned earlier, whatever it is, just make the Eightfold Path your foundation. Alright? Here, of course, the other charts, we talk about death, birth, and aging, which is always a matter of suffering. Corporability, form, which is our body. Every time we see something, every time we hear something, we can actually see feelings arising in us. Alright? When we talk about Tiger Woods getting himself messed up, we can say he's wrong, he's this and he's that. Automatically those feelings disturb us. Alright? So the thing is that how do we manage all these feelings? We'll go along the way. Any questions? Okay. Each time if you find that you're a little bit tired, let me know, we can stretch a little bit. Okay. Now, how do we start? I think I've gone quite a lot. How do we start? Okay. Basically, we don't look for a religion if something has not triggered our inner self to look for it. Alright? Some people in times of tragedy will look for religion. Some people in times of tragedy will look for God. Some people will look for spiritual insights and wisdom. Alright? So, something must have happened to me to do this. Alright? So, how do I start? Alright? Firstly, this is a very prescriptive manner when you want to do something. You run into a trouble, or you run into a problem, you recognize that there's a need. Then you establish a system or a method of practice. Then you go around, look for resource, help, alright, to set up the system. And after that, you test it out. What work and what don't work. Alright, those that work, you keep. Those that don't work, you leave it. Then you improve on the practice, you stabilize the practice, you keep practicing. The result eventually will speak for itself. I took this picture in MacRitchie Reservoir, and I actually was eyeing this tortoise here. This tortoise was very still, alright? And I know he is trying to get over to this end, alright? And I've observed many times that sometimes he will just walk all the way here, and then halfway he will fall into the water. Alright, so it kind of gave me the inspiration, yeah, I should put this picture up because it tells us that sometimes we want to do something, we walk and walk and walk, we do something halfway, then we fall off. Okay, we meet an obstacle, we tripped, and then we fall. Alright, and then after a while we give up. But I've observed this tortoise, it's been there for a long time, and almost every day he's crawling up. So, pretty persistent fella. Alright, now we talk about the need, we talk about the problem. Alright, this journey, basically I call it a karmic flow, and I say how it all adds up. This whole flow actually was what happened to me over 2 years ago. Alright, started in February 2007. I had a normal cough and cold. And this normal cough and cold stubbornly refused to go away. Okay? And it lasted with me for 9 months. Alright? And I was sent from a lung specialist in SGH to the heart specialist, barrage of tests. I came out a pretty healthy person. Only problem, I have about 30% of blockage in my blood vessels in the heart, which is normal for people who are over 50 years old. Alright? Shouldn't be life-threatening, but it gets me into a lot of trouble. Alright? So, to play safe, the doctor put me on, heart disease treatment. Alright, so I have to take those medication. On and off, the breathlessness persists. So I thought, well, I think I'm going to take a long break. So in September, I decided to go to the US, have a good holiday with my wife, stayed with my sister for over a month. And I thought the climate there would be very good for me. But sad to say, when I got back, my condition actually got worse. And one fine day I decided to walk to the A&E department and get myself checked in, and I was warded like for over a night. And at that time when I was warded, my oxygen level was very low. Alright, so they have to put me in for observation. But the next day also I recovered. Okay, so it comes and it goes. So you can't figure out what's going on. Then what I did is I retired from work in January 2008. And I realized that if I would stay home, recuperate, and not do any exercise, alright, the blood circulation, degeneration of physical and mental faculty will take place. Sickness and disease, depression, breathlessness. At the end of the day, I will die. Alright? And how did I come across that conclusion? When I had this problem, I had two friends. One had leukemia. Alright? And then his leukemia developed into a pneumonia and a lung infection. He's got one lung removed. Alright? Another friend has got a heart attack. Alright? And he had 2 bypass. Alright? Now, when I was having these conditions, among the 3 of us, I was in the worst shape. Alright? Like a fish out of water. Now, so what happened is, I started my daily walking exercise in March 2008. Alright? From then on, to stabilize, now when you walk, your mind will always be like a monkey. It will think of 1,000,001 things. I will tell you later on how I overcome that. Alright? Then what I did is I got hold of the medicine Buddha mantra, then the Om Mani Padme Hum, the Metta Sutta, and the Prajna Paramita Sutra. I listened to all these sutras, mantras, and chants during my walk. And how I do that? Where is my toy? Well, I lost my toy. Basically, I use an MP3 player. Alright? Of course, I can't chant all those things. I use my MP3 player. Now, I started that in March 2008. Now, as I told you earlier, I had 2 friends and me that were in similar condition, and I was the worst among the lot. Before I started my walk, that friend with the bypass, he actually died in December 2008 of a heart attack. Alright? This friend of mine with leukemia, he died in April. Alright? Now, for both of them, when I was ill, I was telling them, do breathing meditation. I told them, do breathing meditation. Alright? And that will help. Then what happened is that, so for the whole of 1999, I've been doing walking meditation and Maharishi, and I'll show you the trail how I do it later on. Then of course, Dr. Henry Hill here invited me to share my experiences with the Mitra group, where Brother Jerry just now was talking about. And then subsequently I was asked to come to share this experience with all of you out here. Now this is my 3rd talk. The first talk I was doing was walking for health and happiness. Then mindfulness in daily living. And then this session. Jerry, how am I doing on time? How is my timing? Still okay, you asked me. Okay. Now, so the primary focus here is on exercise first. Alright? Daily exercise improves breathing, reduces stress, improves physical and mental health. Am I a living example? I'm still alive. That's important. Alright? Then, listening to the Metta Sutta daily develops the insight in compassion and loving kindness. Makes you happy and help you overcome fear. Alright, why do I say that? Because the Buddha actually taught some of the monks, okay, when they were doing the rains retreat in the forest and they were frightened by devas. Alright, and the Buddhist monks actually ran away and then seek help from the Buddha. And the Buddha actually taught them the Metta Sutta. And subsequently, when they went back to the forest to meditate, and then they radiate loving kindness to all the beings surrounding them, the devas became very happy and they actually protected the monks. And I have to tell you that it really works, because there were times when I was in Magrichi, you get strong winds, thunderstorm, lightning and all that shooting all over you, and you can be assured it's not so fun, okay? It can get quite frightening. And sometimes when you're doing your walks, all of a sudden the monkeys will jump behind you, and the branches suddenly will swing around. So somehow you learn how to overcome that. And if you do it in darkness, the strange thing is that you always listen to your own footsteps. And you always think it's somebody else's footsteps, but actually it's your own. Alright? And your mind can run pretty wild when there's no light. So all these things you will learn how to overcome it. So listening to the Prajna Paramita daily develops deep insight in the understanding of the 5 skandhas. 5 skandhas are your body, perception, feelings, mental formations, and consciousness. And basically, with a good understanding of form and emptiness, no self, and ultimately letting go, it will really help you to let go of certain aversions and delusions inside you. With all these experiences, you develop the insight on the need for meditation and the practice of living with the Noble Eightfold Path daily. Then while preparing for this talk, lotus petal opened up. I always take my journey as a petal from the lotus leaf, lotus petal that is opening up. So one will open up after another. And this is the latest book that opened up in front of me. Alright? Happiness through meditation became my latest inspiration and source of encouragement. Get the book, is really worth it. And to tell you very frankly, I was walking in a forest. I met one guy, and he actually just recovered from a cancer surgery. And he was watching me doing my exercises, and he got interested, and he asked me to teach him. And when I taught him how to do the exercises, I also shared with him Ajahn Brahm's book, and he happily asked me to get a copy for him. So I bought one for him, and perhaps he may join me in my Friday meditation out here. So these are some of the things that you can do in your practices that you can eventually use it as a form of dana for people who is in need of it. So what I say is that this book actually gave me a map and a flashlight. Alright, so that at least I'm clearer in my journey to the highest happiness. Alright, this is some information where Dr. Yo kind of shared with me. Daily exercise improves breathing, reduces stress, improves physical and mental health. Just 5 minutes of exercise in a green space, such as a park, can boost mental health, is what researchers claim. There is growing evidence that combining activities such as walking or cycling with nature boosts well-being. Study leader Jules Preedy, a researcher of the University of Essex, says that those who were generally inactive or stressed would probably benefit from the most from green exercises. Presence of green space encourages people to be more active. Alright. Once you develop this habit, you will find that you will want to do it every day. If you can't afford it every day, I'm sure you can do it every weekend. Alright, this is the exercise trail that I take. When I first started, okay, this is McRitchie Reservoir. when I live somewhere around here, alright, and I can take a shortcut here, and then I can go either this way or I can go this way. Now, this way takes me to MacRitchie, and this way takes me to the Treetop Walk. Now, I spent like 6 months doing from here to the Treetop Walk and back. On the average, it's 2.5 hours. Alright, the trail involves undulating land. Some areas are quite thick. Good to bring some water along with you, and you can have an umbrella. How many of you have taken this walk before? Any one of you have taken? Alright, good. Do you like it? Alright. It's nice that all of... I think more of you should do that, if you can. If you're not working, do it in a weekday. If you're working, try Saturday or Sunday. But Sunday, if you're here, you can't be there. But if you can't go there, you just use the Henderson Wave, which is quite okay. But the views and the effects are all different. I'll show you along the way. Now, the problem when I did this trail is that it is so intensive until my knee joints wear out. So I have to go on taking like 1,500 milligrams of glucosamine. Alright, and then I have to rest for quite a while before I can do that again. So I decided that it doesn't make sense to exercise and then you hurt yourself. So I modified my route to go this way. Alright, to go this way up to here. Now there is an exercise plot here where you can actually leave wooden bars and all that to strengthen your upper chest. Alright, I always tell people that when you exercise, you try not only exercise your legs, but you also do it to your upper body tracts, so that it's all balanced. Alright? So, try this out if you folks are up to, just can form a group of 3 or 4 and you can do that. I would be quite happy to show you folks around, but coincidentally, I've got a job assignment that came up tomorrow, so I can't do this late morning, but I'll still do it like 7 in the morning. So what I do now is I modify the walk to cover this trail. Alright, just doing this round. It takes about 40 minutes. So if you go this way and this way, it takes about 40 minutes. If you want to do in the evening, you can do it in the evening also. But try to finish your walk before 6:30. Alright, because if anything, after 6:30 it starts to get dark. And if it gets dark, it's quite hazardous in the sense that there are roots along the track and all that, and you could trip and fall and hurt yourself. So, in whatever you do, be mindful that, all these trails, it has its beauty, but it also have some areas that are quite dangerous if you're not careful. For older people who have got weak legs or so on, try to just stick to this trail. Because all these have a wooden path, which is a boardwalk, so they are more gentle on your legs. If you can use what they call a walking pole, is always quite good. All right, this is a scene from one of the trail, and why did I take this picture? Because sometimes during my walk, I have difficulty focusing my thoughts. So I will look at all these trees to see how I can stabilize the thoughts. Okay, how to calm my mind down. Alright, then you look at the reflection. The reflection of the water itself help you to calm yourself down. Now, okay, I'm going to show you a few exercises that I do along the way. So if you folks are up to it, you can try. Now, one of the things I do is that most of us have problems with our knees because we don't stand up and down, squat up and down. And most of us don't breathe very well because we sit a lot. So this part of the abdomen is weak. Alright, then as a result, we have difficulty going. Any questions? Alright, now then we move on. Alright, another two tortoise friends. I've always been watching them going up and down. So this guy really gets here, he always topple off over. Here I want to show you something about this part. I always look at reflection of water. Reflection of water and our mind. Okay? Sometimes our mind are quite disturbed. Alright? And it's like that. If it's clear, you will see reflection. So you need to remember you need to remember that any time if your mind is disturbed, go back to your breath meditation. I always suggest that before you sleep, spend about 10 minutes, 15 minutes in sitting meditation. The time when you really cannot sleep, have insomnia, having problems in the office, relationship problems, etc. Go and sit. Alright? 15, 20 minutes. And after that, you will be quite peaceful and you can go to sleep. I talked to you about blinkered sight, unable to see things. This was when I was doing my sit-up exercise. And I had my camera with me, and this squirrel was up there watching me. Alright? And he was watching, probably thinking I was food for him, but unfortunately not. He was in a tree like the end of the aircon and until this part. He was that far away. And actually I couldn't see it, but because I have this camera, I could zoom all the way in. I managed to spot him nice and big, alright, and managed to get a good clear shot out of it. So, what does this tell me? This tells me one thing very simply, is that sometimes when people tell us something, just because we don't see it, we cannot see it, we think that what the people are telling us is not real, is not the truth, etc. Alright, so it always reminds me that when people tell you something, always don't look at your own view and your own perspective. You need to give other people consideration that yes, they are telling you certain things, but you couldn't see it or you did not see it. Okay, it's just like this. I was with a friend and I asked my friend, can you see what's in front of me? Anything special? Okay, these are actually the sun's rays. I took this picture because I could see the sun's rays. But some people, when they walk, they are unable to see these rays. To them, it's all transparent. Alright, so you learn to observe many things when you're with nature. Alright, and hopefully you could relate that with yourself, with the earth, and with your Dharma teachings. And all these things here are really beautiful. Alright? Just within this picture itself, you can see birth, life, death, all together in one. Alright? Just like this picture. I took this picture because I saw this little water droplet here, which is very elegant to me. Not a very good picture, it's a little bit blurred. Okay? But that's what we are. There are many things we cannot see and we can't see. So that's why when the Buddha taught us the Noble Eightfold Path, there are many levels of the Eightfold Path. Alright, we just start by the normal layman's method, and as we progress in meditation, it reaches higher realms. So, pretty beautiful sight. When you are there early morning, just after rain, it's really lovely. And the air is really nice and fresh. And he also tells me about the Diamond Sutra, which says that all phenomena is like a dream and illusion, like a bubble and shadow. And It comes and it goes and it fades away. And this is the sight of a dragonfly. Can you see all the little details in a dragonfly? Alright. This was a very interesting day. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning. I started off with my later walk. And all of a sudden there are plenty of dragonflies that was flying around me, and I managed to take a few pictures, and this was one of the nicer ones. Alright, cycle of life and death. Basically you can see cycle of life and death. In here you have decaying leaves, alright, and some newly born leaves, so on and so forth. So when you look at all these sites, contemplate on them. It's also like us humans. They are babies, they are toddlers, they are teenagers, adults, aged, newly born and the dead. And this is my dear friend, the Malayan water lizard, trying to gobble up a tortoise shell. This one is a shell of a dead tortoise. And there's some interesting insects out here. I took this picture because of the water droplets. And there are some lovely little flowers here which I picked up and I took pictures of it. Now, basically what it's trying to tell you that even the smallest creature, okay, has its own beauty. That's why in the Metta Sutta, you radiate loving kindness to all beings. Big, small, medium, even the living and the non-living. And this is a trail on a treetop walk, and there's a tower out there. So if you were to climb up the tower and then you look down, you realize how small the human being is as compared to the forest. Sometimes we all think we all humans are very, very big. Alright, if you were to compare the forest with nature, you realize that nature itself can overwhelm us altogether. Alright, this is the suspension bridge on the treetop walk. And then these are some of the boardwalk where I told you all that for those who have difficulty walking, this would be a better trail for you to take. And this is my good old friend, the water lizard again. Sometimes when I walk, this guy will be following me for like some distance away before he goes off. You get quite interesting sights along the way. So just now I showed you some of the exercises, alright? Alright, any questions so far? All okay? Alright. I think I will stop in 5 minutes. Then we carry on the next session the next week. Alright, so body and mind at peace. Alright, breathe beautifully, breathe well, breathe with a happy heart and a happy mind. Remember, no breath equals no life.